The Vikings, I'm gonna put it on the table right now. I've said the entire time, keep an open mind, whether it be the GM job, the head coaching job, whatever. Have an open mind, but all roads right now lead to DeMeco Ryans. And I understand recency bias, yes, but that does matter. And the Wilfs, big time impression. They saw what happened to the Vikings when they played in Lambeau, and they saw what happened when DeMeco Ryans' defense played in Lambeau. Plus, they saw him on the sidelines interacting with players. He was fired up. You could tell that the players love playing for him, and I think that he will be a head coach of the entire team, which we kind of need. First off, yes, let's get out of the way. DeMeco Ryans is not an offensive mind. I understand the merit of hiring an offensive-minded head coach, but just because you can call a couple plays on 3rd and 2 doesn't mean that you're going to be a true leader of men. Again, I do not care. I want the best leader of this football team. I want the manager of the game. I want the best manager of the locker room, and you can hire people to call plays. I mean, maybe he brings press conference wonder boy Mike McDaniel along with him to call plays for the Vikings. That'd be great. And I do think that Ryans, being a stud player, back in the day, middle linebacker, the true quarterback of the defense, seeing the entire field, understanding situational football, calling the defense, wearing that green dot for many years, that is really going to help him. And I think that him being very young in terms of being a head coach, he's only 6 years removed from the game, and being able to connect with the younger generation of players is something that Mike Zimmer really had a tin ear for towards the end, and was ultimately one of the downfalls and a source of a lot of friction in that locker room. So I am all in on DeMeco Ryans, man. Secondly, ESPN's Jeremy Fowler reported this week that the Wilfs are still enamored with Mike Tomlin, and he was the Vikings DC for 1 year in 2006 before he got the Steelers job. Wilfs were owners then. They understand, like, hey, even though it would be great to hire a head coach who's been there, done that, got the t-shirt, or someone who has a lot of experience, if you're a leader, if you're going to be a head coach, may as well get it done right now. And just because the resume's a little bit thin, just like DeMeco Ryans is, it shouldn't stop things, right? DeMeco Ryan is in the same mold. He's that charismatic leader with only 1 year of defensive coordinator experience, but he's ready. He is. He will be a head coach. He will be a great one out of the box, so why not start the clock now? Because many dudes go their entire careers as coordinators because that's what they are. Like that's their Peter principle. They've reached their level of incompetence. Why do you think it took Zimmer so long to finally land a head coaching job, and it turned out it didn't work out so great, right? So some guys are just meant to be position coaches. Some guys are just meant to be coordinators. Some guys are meant to be head coaches, and DeMeco Ryans is the latter, man. And background, 37 years young, former 2006 second-round pick by the Texans out of Alabama. Roll Tide. Spent 10 years with Houston and Philly, two-time Pro Bowler, 2006 Defensive Rookie of the Year, first-team All-Pro in 2007. Got into coaching with the Niners in 2017, worked his way up, 3 years as linebacker coach, and then this year took over as DC after Rob Saleh took over the Jets job. And the Vikings, it does seem like they're circling in on Ryan Poles from the Chiefs to be the new GM, as well as DeMeco Ryans. The Ryans, Poles, and DeMeco getting it done, man. I'm in. I am effing in. Where it's a new day, a new dawn. You want youth, you want some innovation, and DeMeco Ryans, like, just hearing him talk, man, like go through his press conferences. You can understand why his players are so fired up to play for him. And if you have to wait until the Niners and Jimmy G are in the Super Bowl, don't care, man. But yeah, DeMeco Ryans, like, I am ready to run through a brick wall for that man right now. As the Minnesota Vikings head coaching search is starting to wind down, one offensive-minded candidate is starting to gain a little bit of steam. Kevin O'Connell, currently the Rams offensive coordinator. But let's talk about O'Connell today. Background, 6'5", 200 pounds. That's important. 36 years young. Plays college ball at San Diego State. Back in the day. Go Aztecs. Was a third-round pick, number 94 overall by the Patriots to back up Tom Brady. Also, O'Connell was my dude in Madden, man. He big guy, big arm, could run like a deer. It was amazing, man. It just didn't work out in the actual league. He actually lost his backup job in year 2 in camp to Brian Hoyer, so cool. Picked up by the Lions and then was flipped to the Jets 5 days later. Spent 2 years with the Jets, then bounced between the Dolphins, back to the Jets, and then his hometown Chargers in 2012. Spent some time as an NFL draft preparation quarterback guru before jumping to the Browns as their QB coach in 2015. Had a year of overlap with GM candidate Kwesi Adofo-Mensah in San Francisco 2016 when O'Connell was working on special projects, whatever that means. Then he jumped to Washington for 3 years where, yeesh, he was with Kirky Boy 2017. Dun, dun, dun. He eventually joined Sean McVay, who overlapped him in Washington in 2020 after the Gruden contingent was washed out in D.C. as McVay's offensive coordinator. First off, O'Connell is seen as another one of these young, bright, offensive-minded head coaches, in their 30s, going to get a job and lead a team like a Sean McVay, like a Kyle Shanahan, like a Zach Taylor of the Bengals, like a 12-year-old boy. Yes. And McVay talks glowingly about him, but what else is he going to say? Hey, this guy who's my number 2? He sucks. Sucks ass. And McVay actually blocked O'Connell from interviewing with the Chargers for their OC job after Brandon Staley, former Rams DC, got that job. So is it petty? Yeah, a little bit. O'Connell would have been a play caller for the first time in his career. He's actually been an OC for 3 seasons in title, but has never called plays. But it also speaks of how highly McVay thinks of O'Connell's. Like, now, I understand this will help your career, and you won't even have to move because we play in the same building, but I need you here. Need you here, buddy. And KOC deserves a lot of credit for the Rams' offense this year. Cooper Kupp busting out as one of the best wide receivers in the game. OBJ getting up to speed mid-season. And also Matthew Stafford being less garbage than in previous seasons. So I do like the idea of O'Connell. TBD if he is a true leader of men. He's very highly regarded. But if he can manage a locker room and if he can install an offense, which would be kind of nice. Like we've talked about, the advantage of having an offensive-minded head coach is that the offense isn't going to have turnover every single year. If the offense is good, if you have a defensive-minded or special teams inclined head coach. But if he can install a McVay adjacent type offense, which, by the way, is kind of similar to what the Vikings wanted to run all along, because they run a lot of outside zone, they run a lot of play action, but yeah. And also he has experience with Kirky boys, so maybe the Vikings do want to make one more run with Kirk in 2022, do something with that contract, add a void year or whatever, and then try to get some wins and rack up and do some things in O'Connell's first season. It's possible. When we did up our list of potential head coach candidates to replace Mike Zimmer a couple days ago, we omitted Michigan's Jim Harbaugh, mainly because I thought Harbaugh would stay at Michigan, likely with a fat-ass extension, just beat Ohio State, just make the college football playoff for the first time, so maybe he'll stay in Ann Arbor. But then, rumors out there that Harbaugh and the Raiders, or Harbaugh and the Giants, or he's going to the Bears because he played there once. Congratulations. It's like how you guys got Russ instead of Andy Dalton last offseason. Great. But then we thought about it, and Harbaugh always struck me as much more of an NFL coach, better suited to coach grown-ass men as opposed to 18, 19-year-old kids. Like, he doesn't strike me as a schmoozer, which is important in recruiting, and 89% of college football is recruiting. Like, X's and O's are whatever. Oh, we have the best players? We're probably going to win. That happens, right? Also, he may as well strike while the iron is hot, because I don't think that he is going to consistently beat Ohio State. I don't think that Michigan is going to consistently challenge for the playoff. So you may as well get while the getting's good and then get all the money and come back to the league. And of course, this could all be a leverage play just to get all of the Michigan bucks, all of the Michigan money. But people forget, Harbaugh was one hell of an NFL head coach. 4 years with the Niners, he had a very nice 6.95 winning percentage in the regular season, 3 straight double-digit winning seasons, his first 3, by the way, made the NFC title game 3 times in a row. We're just happy to make one with Zimmer. He narrowly lost Super Bowl in 2012 to his stupid brother, and was only fired because of a disagreement with the GM and ownership. And remember, Harbaugh resurrected the career of Alex Smith, who was seen as a bust at the time, and he also went to the Super Bowl with Kaepernick. His quarterbacks at Michigan have been not so much, but that also could be a function of recruiting. But imagine Harbaugh, captain comeback himself here, working with Kirk Cousins, working with Kellen Mond, working with rookie quarterback TBD. Would be pretty good. And yeah, personality-wise, he's a hard ass. Like, he will grind people's gears. He will rub people the wrong way. That's fine. Does that sound familiar, right? But it doesn't matter when you win. People will put up with that when you win. I mean, it was okay with Zim in 2017, but since he hasn't had a winning record at any point since 2019, the shtick is old, right? So if Harbaugh is serious about jumping back to the NFL, I would consider it. Because think about it, where his main issue with the Niners was ownership and the GM. He'll butt heads right away with the ownership of the Bears, even though he has Justin Fields in Chicago. With the Giants, we'll see what the Tisha Mares want to do in that spot. He'll be able to potentially pick his own GM. Same thing with the Raiders. I don't see them hanging on to Mike Mayock if he goes out to the Raiders, who seem to want him bad. And frankly, between the Raiders, the Bears, and the Giants, I would take the Raiders. Like, if he wants to win right away, I would take the Raiders. Justin Fields is promising, but he needs an offensive line. I think Las Vegas, it's going to take a while still. I think that would be the landing spot for Harbaugh, unless the Vikings do get in the Derby. But it could be cost prohibitive because Harbaugh, if and when he returns to the NFL, is going to get all the money. Like, the Raiders might have back-to-back $100 million head coaches. I don't know. But do the Wilfs want to get into that sort of a bidding war, that sort of derby, and pay off the final 2 years of Zimmer? But, I mean, the Vikings would have a lot of upside to Harbaugh. Like we said, there's a talented roster. You got Jefferson, you got Dalvin, you have Cousins, you have Kellen Mond, you have some defensive pieces, especially if they keep Daniil Hunter. So I think that it would be intriguing if he does make the leap back into the league.